Imagine being cast as the villain in someone else's script. Your every move twisted into evidence, your name plastered across headlines as a predator. What if your greatest crime wasn't what you did, but what someone else made the world believe you did? This is the story of Michelle Hadley, a woman framed so convincingly, so elaborately that the world mistook her innocence for obsession. This is Crime Stands Still Deep Cuts. I'm your host, Carrie Drobin. And before I get into it, just a quick note. If you've ever wondered how to spot manipulation in plain sight, how to protect yourself from predators, check out my book, Surviving a Psychopath in Court, in Life, and in Love. Available now on Amazon and the companion masterclass, links below. Let me take you back to 2016. Anaheim, California. Michelle Hadley had ended her engagement to a U.S. Marshal trainee named Ian Diaz. The relationship had soured, but she thought she was moving on. Ian Diaz took his role as a United States Deputy Marshal seriously, so seriously, in fact, that he often wore his uniform even off duty. His identity revolved around his badge. Most of his friends were drawn from the same world of law enforcement. But despite his devotion to the job, Ian longed for fulfillment beyond his work. So at 38, newly single, he did what many do in the 21st century. He went online on a dating site. He met Angela Connell, a 31-year-old with a warm smile, dark hair, deep brown eyes. Their first date was Saturday, January 2nd, 2016, the start of a new year. It felt like the start of something promising. Angela came across as sweet, attentive, disarmingly charming. The attraction was mutual, and their relationship escalated quickly, so that by January 29th, less than 1 month after they met, Ian proposed, and Angela said yes. 2 weeks later, the couple flew to Boise, Idaho to visit Angela's parents, and there she made another announcement. She was pregnant. With a wedding on the horizon and a baby on the way, the couple decided to fast-track their future together. Back in California, Angela moved into Ian's condo. On Friday, February 19th, Ian came home from work to find that she had settled in on her own. That afternoon, they talked about the pregnancy and Angela's lack of health insurance, and the solution seemed simple. Marry quickly so she could access Ian's government benefits. 3 days later, they married in a quiet courthouse ceremony, and on the surface, their future looked secure. But in April, tragedy struck, and Angela suffered a miscarriage. Determined to start a family, they tried again immediately. And by May, Angela was pregnant again, this time with twins. So what should have been a joyful chapter soon soured. In late May, Angela began receiving disturbing emails. They came from multiple accounts, all under the same ominous name, Lilith. Now, in Jewish mythology, Lilith is a dangerous temptress, a child stealer of the night. The name alone was enough to cast a shadow over the couple's fragile happiness. One of the emails to Angela read, "There are legends that Adam had a wife before Eve who was named Lilith, but this is not found in the Bible. The legends varied significantly, but they all essentially agreed that Lilith left Adam because she did not want to submit to him. According to the legends, Lilith was an evil, wicked woman who committed adultery with the devil and produced the race of evil creatures. I hope you are scared of death tomorrow. Be prepared. Don't sleep. Be watchful of the daughters of God. We will steal your child and we will watch as it dies. He is using you for everything. Don't you see this? He is obsessed with me. I am his treasure princess. You are nothing. Watch your back tomorrow." End quote. Whew. Oh, my God. Another email sent from Lilith read, "You will lose your baby, and it will be done by the will of God. God's vengeance will rise up." Angela also received a message via her LinkedIn profile, an employment-oriented website used for professional networking. And the messages were from someone named Jason Ray, who wrote in all capital letters, right? We all know that that means they're screaming at you. It said, "Michelle was his first love. You are nothing to him." End quote. Well, when Ian read the messages, he immediately recognized the language and knew exactly which Michelle the email was referring to. He hadn't told Angela this when they first met, but he was already entangled in a bitter legal dispute with his ex-fiancée, Michelle Hadley. Ian and Michelle had met in October 2013, and they became engaged the following year. In May of 2015, they bought a two-bedroom condo in a new development on South Anaheim Boulevard, less than a mile from Anaheim City Center and close to Disneyland, where Michelle once worked. So the condo cost $468,000. Michelle put down $14,000 deposit. Ian agreed to reimburse her over time, and the couple planned to split the mortgage payments. But by the time they moved in, 1 month later, their relationship was already unraveling. The arguments became constant, escalating quickly, and after barely a month of living together, Ian confided to friends that he couldn't handle her emotional volatility. He took back the engagement ring, and in August of 2015, Michelle moved out. Still obligated to cover her share of the mortgage while Ian remained in the condo, the property became a flashpoint. So within days, Michelle began flooding Ian with emails, demanding answers about the condo and the repayment. I mean, not all of these emails were hostile. I mean, sometimes her frustration was mixed with gratitude when she thanked him for handling her car insurance, for example. But soon, the emails took a turn. And Michelle, air quotes, started referencing the Bible and using grim religious imagery, writing, quote, "Your sins are many, including defiling me and my family with your wicked and evil sexual acts. Your financial coercion and irresponsibility, your gluttony, your greed, your lust, your sloth, your wrath, your envy, and most of all, your pride," right? 7 deadly sins. "I will bring the full force of the law and the word of God against you to judge you," end quote. To this, Ian replied, "I'm not sure how God or the Bible has any relevance to the condo and mortgage." In another email, Michelle, air quotes, stated, quote, "Please explain to your real estate attorney that God's law is above all laws. Prepare yourself and prepare your armies," end quote. In the weeks that followed, Michelle's emails grew increasingly hostile. As a precaution, Ian shared them with friends and colleagues in law enforcement. He also sent Michelle a warning, writing, quote, "The Anaheim Police Department, in conjunction with the United States Marshals Service, are fully aware of you, your issues with me, and have copies of every email that we've exchanged since you left," end quote. Michelle, quotes, continued contacting him regardless, and by September 2015, Ian began the process of seeking a restraining order. And in his petition, he wrote, and this is again a quote, "I work as a U.S. Marshal, and after showing my supervisor the threatening emails, he recommended I seek a domestic violence restraining order. Michelle has told me I must comply with her demands or face God's vengeance, calling me Satan and the Antichrist. Because of her emotional instability, history of fits of rage, and self-medication with alcohol, I fear for my safety," end quote. And Ian attached examples of her behavior to support his claim. Angela, his wife, submitted a collection of threatening messages as well and wrote on the petition, quote, "Miss Hadley has been emailing me for over a week, repeatedly threatening my life, my marriage, and my safety while slandering my husband. She has used more than 6 different email addresses to contact me, despite requests to cease communication. I am now afraid to leave my home, have deleted my online presence, and am under severe emotional distress. I fear being raped, attacked, even killed. I have had to uproot my life, missing work at a new job because of this issue. The tone of these emails has escalated, and there seems to be no end in sight," end quote. A court hearing was scheduled, and Angela was granted a temporary restraining order against Michelle. And the following day, Angela received another chilling email. This time, the sender claimed to be watching her leave work. It read, "Let's play a game." On June 6th, another message warned, "You will pay for this. I hope to God you are ready for the pain that I will show you. Burn in the fiery pits of hell tonight. By God's law, you will be heard," end quote. Angela reported the messages to police, who filed official reports against Michelle Hadley for stalking, making criminal threats, and violating a protective order. Meanwhile, Ian's application to assume the mortgage for the Anaheim condo was denied. Under the terms of their agreement, the property had to be sold, with the proceeds divided between him and Michelle. On Friday, June 24th, 2016, police were dispatched to the Diaz's condominium after a 911 call. In an alley leading to the building's garage, they found Angela Diaz in hysterics. Her shirt was torn. She had visible injuries, a bruise on her right temple, red marks on her neck, scratches above her left breast. Angela told officers that she had been in the garage when a man jumped out, dragged her to the ground, and tried to rape her. He fled, she said, only when she screamed. She insisted the attack was linked to the Craigslist, quote, rape fantasy ads, and named Michelle Hadley as the person responsible. That evening, Detective Michael Cooner and two plainclothes officers arrived at Michelle's parents' home with a search warrant for her electronic devices. Michelle cooperated, handing over her phone, her laptop, and iPad, along with all the passcodes. And when Detective Cooner examined the phone, he saw an email from Craigslist asking her to confirm an ad in the, quote, casual encounters section titled Rape Fantasy. This was the ad. Submissive wife in Anaheim seeking men to fulfill brutal fantasies. No safe word. Bring aggression. Address provided upon response. She wants to be taken by force, tied down, and shown no mercy. The ad featured the heading, Rape Fantasy, and was accompanied by an image of a partially clothed woman being violently restrained by a man. The ad went on to say, I've done this before with a couple of ex-girlfriends and found it very intense and exciting. We would agree on the limits before meeting, and we could meet at a safe location like a hotel. End quote. The advertiser assured potential partners that she was, quote, a sane, clean-cut professional. The detective in one interview said, we had men showing up at the door expecting Angela to be bound and gagged, ready for assault. They believed it was consensual role play. In reality, it was an ambush, and on paper, it looked like Michelle was orchestrating it all. It's crazy. Michelle Hadley, of course, was taken into custody. She was charged with violating the restraining order, and her bail was set at $100,000. Her parents, who ran a small manufacturing business, scraped together the money to secure her release the next morning. But less than an hour later, Angela Diaz reported receiving more emails. On Craigslist, the rape fantasy ads had returned. Hoping to confirm who was behind them, Detective Cooner began responding to the posts himself. He contacted users seeking partners for such acts, and he warned them to ignore any reply that directed them to the Diaz's condo. Ian Diaz, attempting to help, also began replying to the ads, though Detective Cooner considered his involvement unhelpful and potentially harmful to the investigation. On Monday, July 11, 2016, 2 weeks after Michelle's release from custody, another ad went up, again directing responders to the condo. 2 days later, Angela reported a man loitering outside her home, and police arrived to find a 17-year-old in the courtyard who admitted he was there because of a Craigslist post advertising a no-strings-attached hookup. The next day, 4 officers arrived at Michelle Hadley's parents' business. Detective Cooner told her he had electronic evidence linking her verified email account to the harassing messages. He then arrested her for attempted rape. This time, the charges were staggering. Stalking, assault with intent to rape, and the commission of a burglary, 6 counts of attempted rape, and criminal threats with intent to terrorize. If convicted, Michelle faced a maximum sentence of life in prison. Her bail was set at $1 million.